Welcome. You have reached review time with Imperial, and today's review is House of the Dragon Season 2, Episode 7. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's get into it. So this was a real good episode leading up to the season finale. It's only 8 episodes this season. This was a real good episode. So it picks right up after last week. We know last week's episode ended with Sea Smoke deciding Adam as its rider. Picks right up, Rhaenyra and Adam with the face down, facing to each other, and they have their conversation. Adam pretty much said he's basically sworn to be loyal to the queen. He still bended the knee to her, and basically she asked him what he wanted. He wants to learn the way of the dragon riders and be taught how to ride a dragon, the whole nine or whatever. So she's pretty much shocked that he wouldn't want to be king with having such a power, having that dragon. He basically confirmed what she was thinking, that if he was able to be chosen by Sea Smoke, other riders can. You don't have to be the theory that only a true-blooded Targaryen could have a dragon, and that pretty much took that theory out threw that theory out the window. So she asked him, could he make it back to Dragonstone? He said he'd try. So you had that. Next, from there, you had Alicent. She was getting her wound tended to by the what's the masoner, whatever his name is, that tends to Aegon, and basically said, you got cut clean. She basically said there's nothing clean in this castle, and you see a rat running by. Of course, there's rats running by in the kingdom because they killed all the rat catchers. Everything's starting to fall apart. So she asked her now, the same the guy that filled in for Sir Kristen Cole, she asked him pretty much she want to go into the King's Woods, and it makes it look like when she goes into the King's Woods that she pretty much wants to maybe commit suicide, but she pretty much doesn't. She's there, sorrow, feeling sorry for herself and feeling down that now all this is going on. She's no longer useful. Her son that she picked to the throne, he's badly severely injured. Other son basically told her she needs to go tend to domestic things or whatever. So she feels pointless, and her plan is falling through. Then it goes to Lair Strong. He receives information from another whisperer, pretty much that there was somebody seen, Sea Smoke was seen flying, and it had a rider. And he pretty much told Lair Strong this information so that Lair's could find better favor with Aemon. We know Lair Strong was called a toad by Aemon last episode, so he's going to refrain that information. He pretty much told the other whisper guy, hey, if you got that information, feel free to tell Aemon yourself. Basically, I'm not going to give him the forewarning. Keep the information herself. Basically, he wanted to see Aemon get killed and see whatever happens to him. So from there, you see Melissaria talking with Rhaenyra, pretty much telling her, like after the Sea Smoke situation, pretty much telling her that you've been looking for somebody from high authority to be able to ride a dragon, when the people at the top always sleep with the people at the bottom, and there's tons of bastards with the small folks. So pretty much telling a Nerapita message out to the small folk: if you have, or if you're a descent of a Targaryen or some type of dragon blood, come and try your hand at wanting to become a dragon rider. So she puts that message out, the King's Landing, and find a way for the small folk to get out to Dragonstone. Then the big events happen. So that happens next in the episode. So then you have Prince Daemon, like we spoke to in the last episode. Prince Daemon is trying to win King's Landing for himself, so he's building his own army to go take on King's Landing. So we seen Tully died last episode, and now his heir to the throne is taking over. It's a kid, and so the kid pretty much, he blew the kid off previously, but now he pretty much told the kid, I have no use for you before, now I got use for you. So he tells the kid to pretty much, the two houses that was warring against each other, if you still pledge your allegiance to me, keep your word that your people had with Viserys, then they pretty much stand firm. So he talks to the people. They don't like Daemon. So pretty much they're saying, don't, even though you don't like Daemon, he's a piece of crap, still go by the word that this house stood on. So the main guy that Daemon used to start up mess, they say they want the response from him. Not the response, they want revenge for what he did. And so without even thinking, he told Daemon, well, you know, tell them to release me. And Daemon, without a thought, chopped his head off. Because he had to, pretty much, because he's, the greater cause is for the war. Now, we all been talking, or people have been paying attention, that Dragonstone doesn't have the foot soldiers. So they can't go against nobody with the foot soldiers. They have to rely on other houses that have the foot soldiers to fight war. Their biggest cause of the fight for the war, why they do have power, is because they have the dragons. So the dragons, of course, could change the war, because those dragons could burn men and wipe out full armies like nothing. So that's why they are strength and power, but they don't have the army foot soldiers and stuff like that. So that's what Daemon has to build, is making connections with other houses so they could go against the King's Landing and stuff like that. So basically, you know, if you stand with us when we get in position and take over King's Landing, then, you know, your house would be, we'll be indebted to your house, that type of situation. And so now, from there, Daemon had to kill the guy who, pretty much Daemon used him like he did with the, used those people that killed King Aemon II and Helena's child. And so Daemon's about war. He's a piece of crap, but he's about staying to his plan for the war. So after that, you had Daemon have another flashback of him seeing his brother when his brother was pretty much on his deathbed, hole in his face with the bald head. And so it's you see Aegon II in this episode. They're trying to build him up to get back his strength, and you see him looking like his dad. He looked real old from what we used to see him. He looked real old. He got half his head bald from the effects of getting burned. But Laird Strong is trying to push him to get strong, because he sees what's coming, and Aegon is going to have to be in good shape to be able to move. Now, in the book, what's different is when he was on poppy and pain meds and recovery for like a year before he was trying to move around and stuff. On this, it's only been like a weeks, and they are a month at tops, where they already trying to get him in position to move around and get going, and he's not nearly as burned as he was in the books, and the injuries are not as severe, because if it was, he would they would have to go by the book and wait a year. They're just trying to speed the story up, so they're going to let him recover pretty fast so that they could get things in motion to have him to probably upstand Aemon in a throne. But if they stick to the books, something else is going to happen to intervene that. But yeah, he's trying. Larry Strong is trying to get him, because he already trying to walk and he's in severe pain. Larry Strong trying to push him, and then Grand Maester is pretty much telling them like maybe it's too soon to be trying to push him like that, and he's pretty much like he don't have the time, because he see what's coming. Either the king's gonna crumble and other people's gonna come in, the Vermithor and them is gonna come in and take over, or he needs to get ready, get back in position so he can become his hand and get Aemon out of position. Either or, he needs to be ready, and he's on the clock. So Larry's pretty much approached Adam Hall right now as he goes by, and told, Adam pretty much said he's gonna be a dragon rider. Can he be released from his duties on a ship so he can be a dragon rider? And Larry's pretty much gave him his blessing. However, he still doesn't really acknowledge him as being his son. So we had that going on, and then from there he approached Alan. He approached Alan, pretty much told him that his brother is now a dragon rider, and Larry's pretty much told him, Alan, to go, how about you go see if you could claim a dragon too? And pretty much Alan told his dad that he's seeing salt, versus when we think back a few episodes, when Laris wanted to leave his granddaughter Driftmark and be the heir, she told him she fire and blood. Versus now, it's just building up that Alan's he's gonna inherit Driftmark and the riches of Laris by saying he's seeing salt. So that was as much as that. So then they had Raina. She's with the kids. They got her going to Pentos. We already seen Raina seen the marks of the dragon, which is Sheepstealer. We always see the marks of the dragon, and she's pretty much on her way. She dips off. She's gonna go find that dragon. And they got in the book, there's a character by the name of Needles, and Nettles, and the character Nettles feeds Sheepstealer for some time, and before Sheepstealer pretty much she feeds Sheepstealer sheep, and then befriended Sheepstealer and became a dragon rider for Sheepstealer. But she took the dragon and pretty much she didn't fight the war. She dipped off somewhere and went about her way. But I think they're gonna give Raina that storyline of getting the dragon Sheepstealer. I think they're gonna have Raina actually fighting in the war somehow. That's as much as Raina. Then it goes back to Jace and Rhaenyra. Now Jace is upset with Rhaenyra because he pretty much approaches her and put it out there that they're aware that Lenore is not their real dad, even though their last name is they're looked at as Lucerys grandchildren, but they not really his grandchildren. The strong man that was the knight, is their father, and they knew that, but pretty much everybody just, they went with it. So Jason's upset because it basically, his validation was that only he was a true blood to be able to have a dragon and everything like that. And if anybody could just claim a dragon, then pretty much if anybody could just claim a dragon, then his value is not that deep or whatever. So he's upset, and he's telling Rhaenyra, just stop, because it's going to expose everything. Just be at peace with everything and stop everything. Of course, Rhaenyra, she's too deep. She wants her heir to the throne, and she pretty much is going to get it, so she's not going to stop. So finally, the men, the small folk, we know Hammer, Hugh, his wife, they kept showing in King's Landing. They were showing certain small folk that they had meat, and they kept showing Hugh, the small folk, showing him that he's going to have some ties to something. And pretty much, those of us that know about the book, he becomes a dragon rider. But when Rhaenyra put the word out to all the people in a King's Landing, the small folk in a King's Landing, letting them know, hey, come and try your hand with the dragon. Hugh talked to his wife. Their daughter passed. We knew she was sick all season, and pretty much said, I gotta go. This is my destiny. I gotta go see. And once I become a dragon rider, you're going to be the lady of the castle, and we're going to have everything we ever wanted. So that's foreshadowing Hugh's character arc. He wants everything. Where you see when Adam took Sea Smoke, or Sea Smoke took Adam, chose Adam. Adam still wants to bend the knee to Rhaenyra. He wants some of the riches, or he just want to live better than he was, because he know he comes from royalty, and I think he's happy with that. Versus Hugh, like, nah, I want all my riches. I want to be a king somewhere. So it tells Hugh's backstory. His mom comes from being in brothels and stuff like that, but his mom was the sister of Viserys. Viserys and them. Viserys and Daemon. She was the sister, but she was casted out because of her behavior. And so she went out and was just doing whatever out in the brothels and all that. And she ended up going somewhere, becoming a madame. However, so he's really like Rhaenyra's uncle. I think that's how the story goes with her, with Hugh. So nevertheless, he ends up at Dragonstone. So they have this big event, and so it shows Rhaenyra. She's singing the song, Valyrian song. She starts speaking in Valyrian. She's calling for Vermithor. And out of, this whole scene was great. It shows Vermithor come out of the shadows. Huge dragon. And so you got Vhagar, who is Aemon's dragon, pretty much is the biggest dragon, and Vermithor is right underneath Vhagar. So he's just as big, just a little bit smaller. So he comes out of shadow, got them looking a little older. So I think Vhagar is like 200 something years old. Vermithor is younger, about 100, still old looking, and he comes out. So it shows Rhaenyra singing to him, but Rhaenyra's not scared, like how we didn't see Daemon scared of him. Rhaenyra's not scared. She's standing there firm, singing to him. He understands that. And first he came out screeching and growling, and then he calmed down and he pushed up on Rhaenyra, and she put her hand out and touched him, and he breathed on her, and she was calm, basically saying, and it was like a real dope scene for all of them that look at Rhaenyra as the queen, like, yo, that's the queen bee right there, like, yo, the big Vermithor bowed down to her. So she turned, basically said, may the force be with the rest of you. And hopefully, the guy. She said, "Where the guys be with you, or whatever." So the first person stepped up, and Vermithor pretty much looked at him, and then Vermithor just went off. So Vermithor went off and started lighting people on fire, killing people. So it was two particular people from King's Landing of the Small Folk, Hugh, and then there was another guy. The guy plays he's a comedian in real life, but I can't think of what his name is. But nevertheless, those two particularly, they kept showing. So one, the comedian one, I can't think of what his name is right now. They'll come back to me by next week. But he got knocked down, fell off the cliff somewhere. Hugh was still on top. Hugh was just while Vermithor was just having a feast on all the people that was out there, lighting them on fire, eating them. Hugh pretty much was looking for his moment. So he didn't really run too much. And so while Vermithor was eating, it was Hugh and a girl. And so Hugh distracted Vermithor so she'd get to run. And then when he was going to go after her, he was like, right here. And so Vermithor came to him, and she was able to get away. And when Vermithor came to him, Vermithor started screeching, and then he was sitting there like, well, come on with it. I'm like, he was ready, like, come on. And then it's like Vermithor had like a smile on his face, like, yeah, this my guy right here. Like, and then it showed Hugh taming and calming Vermithor. And when it did that, Rhaenyra was in the back looking like, because when everybody was first getting eaten, Rhaenyra was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just sacrificed all these people. But she didn't leave. She watched the whole thing. And then when she seen Hugh claim Vermithor, she was like, it wasn't in vain. Them people knew what they were hitting for before they did. She didn't force them. So from there, the other guy, now he got knocked off the cliff, but he ended up trying to find his way out. And so he ended up in the dragon pit or whatever. So he was digging. You could tell he's in a dragon pit, but he don't know he's in a dragon pit. So he's stepping in the dragon feces, all types of stuff he's stepping in. And he don't even know. He slipped and fell. He doesn't even know behind him is a dragon. And it's moving behind him, but he don't see it. So then finally he sees it. And this dragon is Silverwing. And Silverwing hasn't had a rider since it was like Queen, I can't think of Alice. I think it was Queen Alice and something. And the King Jacaerys or something, one of them. I think that's the father of Viserys and them. I think that's their father, whatever. I think that's who that is. But nevertheless, he chose him. And so he when Silverwing was screeching at first, but then he went up to him and pretty much calm. And he thought he was going to die, and he looked, oh, I'm still alive? And he knew that Silverwing chose him at that point. So the next scene, it shows him getting buck wild, flying all over King's Landing with Silverwing having a good time. Basically showing everybody that he claimed the dragon, like he was one of the ones. And so when Aemon seen that, Aemon pretty much jumped out, ran out the castle, jumped on his horse. Now Vhagar is so big it can't stay in the King's Landing dragon pit. It has to stay off in a forest, the woods somewhere. So that's where Aemon got to get to Vhagar at. So when he finally gets to Vhagar, by this time, Silverwing is back by King's Landing. But Silverwing is back by Dragonstone, my bad. And so Vhagar is headed towards Dragonstone. Now this part is okay. If Aemon is leaving King's Landing, how far is King's Landing from Dragonstone? It can't be too far or whatever. So nevertheless, I think they just the difference is seas, like, and it can't be that far seas. You know, it got to be something geographic wise. How they say like Florida is to Cuba, stuff like that. Like it's like right there. It's only the only getting there by walking. It would be different, but it's like flying is right there. So nevertheless, it's just a body of water that's split. Because you can see that when Vermithor and them send ships over there to King's Landing and stuff like that. So nevertheless, Aemon is headed to Dragonstone. He got Vhagar, but then he could see in the distance. He could see. He tells Vhagar, "No, Vhagar, no, like don't initiate war. Don't." He tells him. So finally, Vhagar listened this time, and he turned Vhagar off from initiating war or impact. And then it was on Dragonstone. It showed Rhaenyra sitting there with Cyrax, her dragon. It showed Vermithor sitting there, and it shows Silverwing. So it was a dope scene in the episode. So that was you just anticipating for the war to come. So that was a good episode. Tune into next week for the season finale. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Till next time.